Welcome to the first Thursday Wave Street Women's Monologues. We have 4 wonderful performers tonight, and after their 2 to 15-minute monologues or readings that are all original work, we will then take a short break and give each other feedback, constructive criticism on how to improve our monologue for future performances. The goods that we liked about it, and the could be betters. Emphasizing the goods, of course. Okay? I will introduce each speaker individually, and the first speaker is Pat Hanson.
Opening cravat. Any resemblance of the characters in this monologue to persons living or dead or their relatives is purely not a coincidence.
Yes. This is a 5-step fantasy group. Welcome to the Wednesday night meeting of our WFYPD support group. For newcomers, that's not PTSD, although some of us have it. It's the Waiting for Your Parents to Die support group. Let me read our principles from the Big Green Book. We are here to support one another during the agonizingly long time our parents take to leave the planet and leave us alone. The only requirement for a membership is a desire to have our struggle with our parents be over. Our public relations policy is based on attraction, not promotion, to carry our message of support to other baby boomers who suffer. There is no crosstalk. If you wish to give somebody some feedback, take them for a drink after the meeting. And our final, now I'll read our first 5 steps from the Green Book. We admit we are powerless over how old and crotchety and disoriented our parents may have become, that their lives are unmanageable, and so are ours as caretakers. Step 2, we come to believe that only by sharing our stories can we restore not them, but ourselves to sanity. We admit, step 3, to ourselves and each other the exact nature of our thoughts, especially how, if at all, our parents have harmed us and how they've loved us, and as a result, ways we might like to get back at them but haven't. Step 5, we work diligently to forgive our parents and to forgive ourselves, ultimately encouraging them to let go, not let God. That takes too long. And step 5, because we don't live in Washington, Oregon, or Montana, where right to die laws exist, we share a phone list so we can call one another before we commit acts of matricide or patricide. Okay, who would like to share first? And then I'll take off the hat, come back out, I guess. I'll do it over here. I'm Pat, and I started this WFYTD support group because my mother at 93 is in a retirement community in New Jersey, but she's the chief complainer there. In the state, they invented the word complain. The food isn't good enough. Her cleaning lady missed a spot on the counter. When I was growing up, all she did was red mark my writing and all my English assignments, even though I got all A's but 1 B+. And nothing I ever did was good enough for her. I remember having a ponytail in the 6th grade, and I got it cut into the artichoke. This is New Jersey, and they had an artichoke haircut, and she said to me, "Pretty girls can have a haircut like that, but not you." So now in this retirement home that I fly to 2 to 3 times a year, it's been 4 times in the last few months, she has the ability to move from the recreational area in her own apartment to assisted living or a nursing care. And the one thing I'm really glad about is that she had the wherewithal to choose a retirement community like that. Okay, I can do this again. This is hard. Thank you, Pat. Who would like to come next? Hi, my name is Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Actually, it's Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie. I've got the dementia that my mother does. Stephanie, my mom is 96, and we moved her in with us from a 4th-story walk-up in Yonkers, New York, 4 years ago. And she's sweet, and she always has. And she sleeps mostly all day long. But she, when she gets up, she loves to take a bath, and then I dress her in her satin blouses and her many jewels and earrings, so that she can look like the princess that she always was. And it's wonderful, and I'm very glad that in my ashram, they talk about selfless service, and I am in selfless service to her. However, I also, last week, she called me into her room and she said, Steffi, I want to write a book. If I dictate it, could you write my story? And I said, sure, Mom, what's the title of the book? And she said, 90 is enough. And I really identified, because at 90, she was in Yonkers, New York, in a 4-story walk-up. And now she wasn't anymore. And I thank this group for it being able to come here every week and be with you who are in this same caretaking situation. Okay, who would be next? This would be Lisa. I should have put that on back there, but. I'm Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
And I left graduate school in the Midwest and came home to help my father take care of my mother, who at 69 has Pick's disease. Pick's disease, that's a degrading, mentally deteriorating, physically deteriorating condition that's worse than Alzheimer's. Basically, my mother now operates like a 2.5-year-old, and we have to feed her. We do get her dressed to the adult daycare center 3 times a week, and that is going pretty well, but she's a 2.5-year-old. And one day when my father was watching a football game, and she hadn't come to dinner, which was spaghetti and meatballs, she took a meatball and threw it at the television. You think that's the anger stage of bargaining, angle, denial, acceptance? I don't know. But it's really sad to see her. My sisters, one who lives in Hawaii and one lives far away, have all come and visited her and told her, Mom, it's okay to let go. We will be okay. You've taken care of us really well. But it's been a long time, and I don't know how much longer it will be. Okay, who would be next? Hi, I'm Frank.
Hi, Frank.
I'm definitely a YFPD-er. My mom is in Los Angeles, a good 6 to 9 hour drive away, but at least every 3 days she calls and goes, I was expecting to hear from you. And I can admit to you guys, because I've been here with you guys, it's about the money. I need the money. I now get in a job that I got after 99 weeks of unemployment, $20 an hour to sit in a cubicle all day long. And I need a bridge on my teeth that costs $12,000. I also need tires on my car. And my mother and father inherited the money they had to build the 5 pieces of rental property they have in Los Angeles. And they've developed a trust that has me and my 2 sisters' name on it. But I am not to think about that till that trust comes true and she dies, and that's discreet. So this waiting period about the money is crazy. And last week, she inherited another $500,000 from a sister-in-law. That was a total surprise. And I decided I'm going to write her a letter and tell her about my teeth and tell her about my tires and ask for the money. She took 2 weeks to answer. And when she did, she said, over the years with college and all your trips, you've borrowed money. I will give you this $18,000 right now, but you must sign this document. I, Frank Ramon, will not ask for anything else till the trust comes due. Mea culpa. You'd think she'd at least want to know what kind of joy having some of that money now instead of later would bring. No. Thank you, Frank. Hi, I'm Barbara.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi, Barbara. I'm definitely YFPTD. My mother has been sweet all her life, and she's sweet now, but she cannot even remember my name. I took care of her in our own house for 8 months, but that was just too much. I had to go back to teaching, and my schedule and the cost of daycare was crazy. My father, her husband, had died a year ago, but in the 2 years that he wouldn't leave his home, that we had round-the-clock care, they used up 90% of the equity in our house for in-house, in-person care. And I don't know what we're going to do, because Mom is now in one of those memory care facilities. And you know what? If you have money to invest in those facilities, they're going to be very profitable, the same way audiology is for all the baby boomers that are going to get deafer. So we have enough money to take care of Mom maybe for 8 more months at $7,000 a month. No first and last month rent, but that's not fun. Thank you, Pat. Now, I want you to imagine that this is a month later, and this is the Wednesday night group, but Lisa comes back. And Lisa goes, hi, I'm Lisa, and I don't belong to this group anymore. It did happen. It happened. Let me tell you how. And I was amazed at how sad I was after the long period that I had. Mom had a stroke. The hospice people and the doctor came over. She had a bed in the living room, and she still was alive, but she had pain in her legs, and she was on morphine. So my mom was a cardiac nurse, and she met Dad when he was a cardiac surgeon. So we called my sisters. They came into the home, and we all surrounded my mother and told her again how great she'd been, that she could let go and they could take care of her. And the doctor came and examined her and gave my dad a little more morphine and said, keep her as comfortable as possible. I could swear he winked on the way out. And that was her last night. She passed. And I just want to thank all you guys for the support you've given me over the year that I've been here. I am going to go back to graduate school now, but thank you. One more person. Hi, I'm Pat.
Hi, Pat.
Well, things have changed for me too, and bless you, Lisa. I will be at that funeral on Friday. I like funerals much better than weddings because people always focus on the good things, and they have, they're going to a better place, whereas 50% of marriages fail. But anyway, back to my story. My therapist told me my mom was a crotchety old piece of work and not to expect things to change, but they did. I just got back from New Jersey where I moved her into assisted living. And when she saw and sold and dispersed many of her things in the two-bedroom apartment she had in that community. And when she looked around at the other people and knew how cognitively well she was, although she was in physical pain, she got sweet. She sort of thanked me for all that I had done for her over the years. She also told one of the social workers how pretty her hair was. And I learned lately that there is such a thing as sweet dementia. She said, thank you for all you've given me. I've lived a complete life. I feel like I'm going out in luxury. And she was in a bed with a roommate in a assisted living nursing home, but she could wheel her own wheelchair to the lunches and to dinners. So shift happens. And as I was leaving the facility to go back to the airport, and I turned the car radio on, the song Memory from Cats came. Memory, all alone in the moonlight, I remember the old days. I was beautiful then. If you touch me, you'll know what wonderful is. You know the song. That's the end of our support group for tonight. Let's all say the Serenity Prayer together, which we end our meetings with. And that goes, God, give me the serenity, out loud people, my support group members. God, give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Namaste. My number is over. And our second performer tonight, who will also use our 12-step wooden table, is Kyle Wood. And the name of her presentation is The Proposal. What?
I got a new skirt. It looks really good from this side, so I think I'll stand here for out the entire, just saying. Hang on. Is that, oh, no. This is what I was going to do. I just wanted to stand there just another moment. New skirt. The proposal. Now here's the deal. This could be a proposal for you, and this is also a proposal for me, and for everyone who's female or male out there in our community. The proposal I'm making tonight is regarding the fear of success and the fear of failure. I propose that they are one in the same. If you're afraid of success, I promise you, first, you're afraid to fail. Just getting up here, terrifying. Fear could keep me away, as it has many, many people. The fear of public speaking, some say it's greater than the fear of death. However, I dare you to tell somebody, I am going to choke you to death, or I want you to say the Serenity Prayer. Well, I'd have to say watermelon, 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 because I don't know the Serenity Prayer. I had a real hard time with that. But you're going to say something. I mean, your fear of death is actually greater than your fear of speaking, I promise. However, when you are deciding that you are going to succeed, what's the first thing you need to do? You have to have a why. Why are you succeeding? Does anyone have a why they want to succeed? Carrie?
My why is to empower
Empower her daughter. That is a big thing for parents. You've got a big deal. May I ask, what would your why be, or your desire
My
to
why
succeed?
would be, why am I here? There's a purpose, and to follow that purpose.
So that is a more cerebral, celestial, theologian kind of idea. For me, it changes, and I think you would all agree, it changes as we move along in our lives. When our kids are little, well, before we have kids, the why is I want to go to the dance. The why is I want to go to the rock concert. The why becomes when we have children, everything about them. I want the right kind of diaper. I want the right this. I want the right stroller. So our whys change as we move along. As the kids get older, you start thinking that C word, college. Why is college? Why is a big deal for that? So we keep changing our ideas, and as we're doing that, if we haven't hit that mark, we think we have failed. Even though if we can't send our child to college, what can we do? We can get a loan. Am I correct? We can get a student loan. They can apply for a student loan. Somehow that child, you're going to find success if you don't ever give up. You keep trying. That kid's going to go to college, and that's going to happen if that's something that you decide that you are going to make happen. So that's the action for that. The why or the want. But this is about me. This is women's monologue. So I'm changing this back to Kyle. I got to a place where my children are grown, everybody's gone to college, I've gone to college, my husband has passed away, I've moved here, I'm all by my onesies. All I have left is me and my dog. And we bought a beautiful house, the dog and I. I did all the driving. He had a drinking problem. He did. But so I did all the driving. But I sat and started to think, okay, now, because I've always been about motivation and ideas and why, I didn't have one. And I puzzled till my puzzler was sore. I couldn't come up with one because everybody in the world is saying, well, Kyle, look at you. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. You should be doing all these wonderful, marvelous things. I was still stuck with, I had no idea. And I sat and I really thought about it. So I thought, okay, do I want huge diamonds? Had them. Ocean view home? I was living in it. Impress friends and family? Who cares? Because it gets to a place, I don't care anymore. So neighbors don't care. Kids college, been there, done that. Like myself better. I liked myself just fine. But something was wrong, wasn't sure. So that I put that one up here. I wanted to like myself a little bit better because I didn't know what the heck was going on. I wanted to live near movie stars. Nah. Clint Eastwood's down there, any old time you want to see him at Mission Ranch, right? Be thin. I don't think I need that one. Facelift, tummy tuck, and not yet. We'll put that on we'll save that for later. And then relationship. I had been married my whole life, and my husband disappeared. Now, I heard friends of mine tell me, well, when I got divorced, I just wished he was dead. Well, my husband really was dead. And the positive to that, because there's a positive to everything, is when he left loving me, and I got everything. So I did do really well, and I had a man that left me, loving me, and the last thing he said to me was, say more yes, and you'll be single 5 minutes. Those were the two things he said. Say more yes, and you'll be single 5 minutes. And I cried for that. I thought I didn't feel like that was a really good, nice thing to say, but what he was telling me, as far as I was concerned, is he knew I needed this. I needed a relationship. So I put that at the top of my list, relationship. That was my why. So I started the hunt for Red October. His name was Wayne. He didn't know, but he'd had it. I found him. I'm going to marry this man. So I'm going to grief group with my lady grief friends, and they're in different levels of grief, and some of them have been there for 5 years. I mean, they've been to doing all those kind of things of ideas and not getting past it. And I was showing up in full cocktail. Rhinestones, kid you not, rhinestones, heels, a whole bit, because I always had a date. What are people talking about? There's no men. There's men everywhere. So I always had a date and never turned on my stove in my new house. Finally convinced Wayne that I was the one to marry, and I fixed the whole relationship thing. But I put tons of action into that, didn't I? A lot of action. I moved away from a sad place, yes? So that's what you do. You come up with your own personal whys. So other people would have picked a million different whys, a million different wants. I was lucky enough to have so many of my wants already taken care of. Most people do not come down, your husband dies and you've got all these goodies and a wonderful life. I was so blessed, so I'm grateful for that. But still, I had to take the action. I could have stayed in little old Manteca, California, been the hottest widow out there, but not with an ocean view, and not what I really wanted, which was this beautiful Monterey Bay. That's what I really wanted. So I did all these really scary, brave things. My success had some days of terrible failure. So the idea is then I looked at my action thing is what to do to better me. I went to the gym. I'm skinny, but I got fitter. I stopped doing stupid stuff. That's a biggie. Stop doing stupid stuff. Now, my late husband put it a different way with a different word for stuff. Let that run through your head. Stop doing stupid stuff. And he wrote a little pamphlet on that's when you're moving along in the world and you get to a certain place and something breaks. And something breaks. He said, what happened before you did the stupid thing? What happened before it broke? And go back there. So, and that's where I came up with the whole idea of the relationship. I need to go back to where I had a good relationship and that was set in stone. Go back to my healthy place. Go back to the gym. This is for me. And I hope for you. Whatever it was, I was promised I was going to finish this book I was writing. I mean, who actually finishes a book? Well, I did. I mean, hello, here it is. Most of you have seen me do this before, but that's how that came about. I decided it's finally time now that I had the relationship, I have the Monterey, I have the things. Now it's time for this. Finish Tilly Lewis. I did it. Like Yoda said, do or do not. There is no try. Whether that's writing a book, quitting smoking, losing weight, changing your relationship, changing your life, ladies, do.
Thank you, Kyle. Once again, a winner. I think we'll take this down. Our next speaker for her first Wave Street monologue performance is Carrie Glenn, who has a business called Etiquette at Hand. And her speech tonight is not about that, but I heard her give a TED Talks at an audition. We're putting a microphone on her right now. At a TEDx audition about how etiquette can promote world peace. If we thank people, if we are kind to people across cultures, across races, across identities, etiquette can promote peace. She's not giving us that 20-minute talk today. She's giving us another short talk. Will give us an introduction to Carrie Glenn. And the title of it is, I Don't Want You to Leave. Now, we can all imagine, while she gets her microphone hooked up, what that might be. What she doesn't want to leave. It could be a good thing in our life that we don't want to leave, or it could be something that we're dependent on. And we're getting close. Carrie Glenn, advanced Toastmaster, good friend.
This is actually an excerpt from a book that I am writing. I can't give too many details so I'll just go with it. Also, I will be reading it rather than memorized. The truth is, I don't want him to go. It's selfish, I know, but I don't want him to go. It's too big. It's too big for him, too big for all of us. And I can't tell him not to go because he has to. What can I do? I can't help wondering if he'll come back. This could go all wrong. You know it can. So trying to convince me otherwise is no good. We always think we're invincible. To some degree, we always think we can manage. But we can't always win. And one day, we won't win. What if this is that day? What if this is the day that will go down in history as the most tragic and horrific day ever? What if we lose? And I lose him. I can't lose him. I don't want to live without him. Not now. Not with... I don't want him to go. But if he doesn't, what future will the world have? I don't want him to go, but what future will he and I have? I don't want him to go, but if he doesn't, what future will our son have? He has to go. And I have to smile and tell him, I'll be here waiting. Because that, if anything, will bring him back.
Wow. Thank you, Carrie. Come back and give us more of the entire book.
Okay.
Yeah. Our fourth reader tonight will be Joanne Bolger. She's been here before with one of her stories. I first met Joanne when we both had chapters in a Christmas book put out by Harlequin Press, and hers was about a doll. Mine was about a virtual Christmas where we didn't have enough money and we needed to give each other virtual gifts, which means we cut out pictures from magazines and wrapped them up and put them under a flower plant that I decorated instead of having a real Christmas. Joanne had a story in there about a lost doll that she read last time that found and came back to her. Are you ready?
Yes, I need the little pedestal here to
Go
put
ahead.
my thing on.
This is a monologue workshop, so we're not pretending to be perfect. When Joanne finishes, we'll applaud, and then we're going to take a short break and rearrange the chairs, and the four of us are going to give each other feedback.
This is going to be too low, so all that.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
And you're wired. Good.
Okay. First of all, I want to share a little bit of background. Oh, okay. Oh, there. Great. Thank you. A little bit of background. I have a tendency to say things that just pop out of my mouth, and I don't know where they come from, but they're out there for the world. One example, when I was 16, come home from school, high school, sitting in the back room in the little back area. We call it the Mexican room because there was a painting of a sombrero and a hat and a poncho and all that on one of the doors in the back. I'm sitting back there doing my homework, and my mom and dad come in. My mother doesn't drive, so with her not being home, I knew she was with my dad. They come walking in from the front of the house. I'm in the back, and they said they have something to tell me. I'm 16 years old. I pop out, I know, Mom's pregnant. Well, the horror of it all was that, yes, she was. Her youngest one was 10 years old, And here I am, I don't know where these words came from, but I'm saying, you're pregnant. My dad thinks I'm spying on them, which I'm not. They're shocked because this is going to be 10 years from one baby to the next. So here this popped out on me. Another situation that happened many years later, my daughter graduated the 5th of June. My birthday was the 6th of June. So we had a celebration on Saturday the 5th for her birthday. On Sunday, my birthday, my father and my mother gave me a box about this big and about this thick high. And she puts it on my lap, and I looked at her and I said, Mom, it's too hot for mink. My father turns and looks at my mother and said, you told her. No, it's a mink stole. That's what my father had got. It was from a garage sale, and it had another lady's initials inside. But the point is, I had no idea what was in the box, and I was being smart alecky, and I hit the nail on the head. So now I want to tell you about the story of my true love. And you know the background that I pop up with these things periodically. So I'm at the beach with my girlfriend, and I happen to turn over. It's late in the afternoon. Most of the people are gone. The sun is setting low, and off to the side, a distance away, is a group of guys, 5, 6 guys, kind of standing in a circle. They're all talking. Very few people around because most of them have left. The seagulls are coming in. And I look over and I go, oh, like this. And my girlfriend Cheryl's with me, and she looks around like, what is it? And I said, I just saw the man I'm going to marry. And she thought I was saying, I'm engaged to this man that I'm going to marry. And she looks at me like, what do you mean you're engaged? I said, I'm not engaged. I just saw the man I'm going to marry, and I'm waiting for him to turn around so I can see what he looks like. But I knew instantly I was going to marry that person. He turns around and he lets out the biggest belch you'd ever think. My face turns red. I'm so embarrassed. He's so uncouth, I'm thinking. Here I am, 16 years old. So I go home that day from the beach. I'm all excited. All I can tell them, everybody, I saw the man I'm going to marry. I saw the man I'm going to marry. My folks, I'm telling them, and they said, well, you haven't introduced us to anybody. Who is this person? I said, I haven't met him yet. I just saw him. Okay, so the next 3 or 4 days during the summer, I'm going with my girlfriend Cheryl again to the beach. My head, I'm getting whiplash. I'm turning so much looking for this person. Can't find him anyplace. I don't know. I would think I would recognize him when I see him, but I'm looking and I'm not seeing him. So now it's the 4th day. Cheryl kept saying, for every day it waits, I'll make you a layer cake. So we're at 4-layer cake that she's going to make me when we meet, this man and I. 4 days later, again, it's late in the afternoon, and seagulls are again coming in. I'm laying like this on the sand. Cheryl's got her legs up and her arms around her knees and her head resting in the knees. And I can hear the sand moving over here a little bit. And I'm thinking the seagulls are getting awful close because I can almost hear them with the movement in the sand. And open one eye and look, and here's a face on his hands and knees looking into my face about this far away. And it's this person that I'd seen 4 days before. Now, I closed my eyes, and I'm thinking I'm having the most wonderful dream that here I could almost reach out and touch him. And I'm thinking, Joanne, you're not sleeping. He's there on his hands and knees looking into my face. And I jerk back up again, and sure enough, and I look over this way because where Cheryl is sitting here, and up behind her is Tommy. Now, Tommy was like a big brother to me. Every time I would have a problem with a date, a boy or something where they'd try to get fresh or something, I'd be off all boys all together, and I'd hang out with Tommy and his friends. He was like a big brother to me, and he took care of me. He had a car so I could get places with him because I didn't have a car in those, teenagers didn't get cars until they were 18, 19 years old then. So I could hang out with Tommy, and he was the big brother, and I could be not worried about boys, off boys, and what have you. Well, Tommy kept telling me, there's this guy I want to introduce you to. I don't want to see any guys. I'm off guys. They all want one thing, and I'm not giving anything away. No, thank you. So what happens? Here's this guy right here, and here's Tommy. Now, what had happened, my husband-to-be, Marty, had noticed me the 4 days before, and he had looked all over trying to find someone who would introduce him to me. None of the people that knew me would introduce him to me. So this one day, 4 days later, as we were going through this day now, Tommy was up by the sidewalk, and late in the afternoon, like I said, and Marty had come up to Tommy, and he had a long face on him. And he said to Tommy, he said, I'm just as frustrated. I'm trying to find someone that will introduce me to this little gal down there, and nobody will do it. He said, which one? Because there were two of us down there, Cheryl and myself. And he pointed out me. And he said, that's the girl I've been wanting to introduce you to, and I've been telling her I want to introduce you, and like, let's go. So when I set up like this and I look over, and there's Tommy, he's introducing me to my future husband. Well, the whole world just exploded for me at that time. This was heaven on earth. This was wonderful. So we went out a few times. That was the end of summer. We went out a few times. And then it was him to go back to Santa Clara, 400 miles away from where we were in the LA area. And we thought, well, we'll get together come Christmas. He'll be home at Christmas. Now, see, he was in college and I'm in high school, so there's 5 years difference in our age. And he was thinking I'm older than I am, but I always act so mature for my age, so it wasn't a problem to let him think I was older than I was. And so we decide we'll get together on Christmas Eve, holiday time. One of his buddies, who was up at Santa Clara with him, was having a Christmas party. His younger sister was in my class in high school, so I knew about the party, so we'd both meet at that party, and we'd get together again. Okay, well, I go to that party. There's no Marty there. I'm disappointed, I'm sad, you know. I thought I've been 6 months now from summer to Christmas Eve, waiting, New Year's Eve, and he's not there. So the whole summer, the rest of the year goes through. Now it's getting on to summer again. I'm working at the theater, work the candy counter, and as I'm working the candy counter, the front doors are down quite a ways down, and I see this guy coming in with this lady, and my heart stops again. And I thought, oh my God, I bet you that's his brother. They look so much alike, I bet you that's his brother. Instincts are just going great guns. Sure enough, they walk right up to the counter, and the first thing I can say to him, do you have a brother named Marty? Yep. And he says, yes. And I said, oh, okay, connection here. Where is he? I haven't seen him. Summertime's halfway through, and I haven't seen him. Well, he's in ROTC, and he's in Oklahoma for a few weeks, and he's due in this next week. I thought, okay, I'm going to get all set. Now, again, I don't have a car, so I go to the beach, either by the bus and the trolleys and all of that, or I get a friend who's got a car, one of the guys that I know who's got a car. And they usually hang out like Tommy and his buddies, 5 or 6 guys at a time. So I get a great big blanket, and I bum a ride with these buddies. Here's 6 guys, and I've got this big blanket, and I'm sitting in the middle of this blanket, and I got these 6 guys all around me. They're all sharing the blanket with me. Lo and behold, here comes Marty. Got his crew cut. Comes over and he kneels right in front of me. Hi, what happened to the New Year's Eve party? I thought we were going to see you. Oh, well, he was at this other party, and it was going so great, he stayed. Next thing you knew, it was late and what have you. Okay. So I'm thinking, I got like 6 guys around here. They're going to have a reaction to this. So he says, do you mind if I leave my comb here while I go say hi to everybody else? Well, what did he need a comb for? He's got a crew cut, you know, but I thought, sure, leave your comb here. So he had to come back to the blanket, right, to get his comb. So then he offers me a ride home. So then at that point, it was full steam ahead. We dated about 5 or 6 times. The only thing he would do would hold my hand. He didn't try to kiss me or anything. And I thought, well, what's going on here? Because usually I had more trouble, more than I needed, and this guy's just the opposite. And so, you know, what's going on here? So this 5th date that we're at, he's walking me up to the door, and he says, "How do you think of me?" And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that's putting me on the spot. So I said, well, I think of you as a big brother, because I figured, you know, he's not getting fresh or anything, and we're holding hands, but I mean, I don't know if he's serious about me, because he doesn't know. I know he's going to marry me. He doesn't know that at all, but I know this. I mean, I'm in mud with this. Cement, it's solid. So when I tell him I think of him as like a big brother, he says, I have no intention of being your big brother. And he gave me my first kiss from him. So when I had gone home that first day, when I first saw him, and I'm telling my sisters, my mom, and my dad, I saw the man I'm going to marry. I saw the man I'm going to marry. They all thought I was saying, I've met the man I'm going to marry. And I said, no, I haven't met him yet. I just saw him, and I know I'm going to marry him. So that's what I did. I married him. We had 52 years of a wonderful marriage. He had Alzheimer's, the last 15 years of it. He died 11 years ago. But he was my dream.
There's always enough love to go around, no matter where it begins, where it ends, it's continuous. Okay, we're going to take a short break, and the 4 of us who are performing will take some feedback. We'd take some from our audience if you'd like. We'll just do that. So we can move, let's just put 4 chairs here and we'll move the plant. I think I better not touch the light. Of paper, that beautiful, touching, moving story. Yours was a true monologue spoken with heart to an audience. I was extremely impressed.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to say anything?
It was absolutely wonderful. I was riveted the entire time. You took us along on your journey, and you're sort of scary that I'm kind of wondering what you know about me.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Do you do that with other things?
Do I what?
Have you had premonition?
I pop up. I mean, it's not that I know I'm going to do it. I'm just as shocked as the next person when it comes out of my mouth.
But yet you had the doll thing too.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. But that's what I mean. There's doodle doodle doodle.
happening, and you just go with it, you know. And if it was something I could control, that might be nice. But I know that someone told me one time who does energy readings or something, that my energy is just off the chart, and if I could control it, you know, it would be better all the way around. But I thought, it's off the chart, that's who I am, you know.
Let you be you. Why control it? I mean, that was so free-flowing and good.
But yet it was set so that you had a beginning, a middle, and a clear end that took us there poignantly and beautifully. Thank you for that.
Right, and I think that ending was just perfect because it wasn't sudden, but it was decisive, and it just wrapped up your whole story. I mean, we knew, well, at least we hoped, that this was where it was going to go. And then you gave us, as an audience, you gave us exactly what we wanted. You know, hopefully.
Are there any could-be-betters? Because it was a stunning performance. And at Toastmasters, we always find something we can suggest. I love how professionally you're dressed in those colors. And I don't have any suggestions. Yeah.
Always there for the perhaps is you did not need that thing in front of you. You did not.
Those notes.
You didn't need it. And that would have been nice to be able to see all of you and have you gesticulating to us.
That's great.
Well, I did bring some photos too, if you'd like to see them.
We would.
Would you?
But this is probably not.
Would probably not be the time, but let her do it.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely. What the heck?
Well, this was the engagement when 2 years later we were engaged.
Hold it. Yeah.
And this is like 40 years after that.
Okay.
So.
Oh my goodness gracious.
My goodness.
Oh, I'd have taken him too. We'd have fought over this one.
Yeah. She'd give you some competition.
Are you kidding? She's gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's
Oh.
lovely. Okay.
A gorgeous couple.
Well, Miss
all the
Carrie
way.
Glenn.
Well, I have a suggestion if you'd like.
Sure.
When you talked about when you did realize it was him, and you said, I forget the phrase, but it was something like there were fireworks or my world shifted. There was a phrase that you used in that moment when you realized, oh, this is all connecting. And that's kind of a moment as an actor, you know, or just as a performer, where you can just stop. Tell us that sentence that you used, and then just stop and really sit in that moment for just a moment.
Of silence.
And really remember it. So when the seagulls were crawling next to you, again, if you can really put yourself there just a tiny bit more, put yourself right in that spot, smell the sea, really hear those seagulls, and maybe swat them away or something, I don't know, but just really kind of in those little moments, kind of stop and actually be there. And I think you were.
I'm there every time I talk about it. I'm right back there looking at his face, and you know, there was the movement in the sand with the thinking it was the seagulls. It's so close, and that's why I opened one eye, like, how close are these seagulls getting? And there was this face, and I thought, oh, this is too good to be true. I closed my eyes again, and I'm thinking, Joanne, you're not sleeping. You're not dreaming.
Which was just a delightful thing to say too. You're not sleeping. That's just like, yes.
Yeah, those are little
Very
additions.
Juicy, right?
Could be good.
Yeah.
Great. Well, let's move on to Carrie, which is a very short introduction to what sounds like a very powerful, both personal and political piece. I mean, when you were talking about somebody you wanted to go or that could go with hazardous conditions, I thought political, but let's not go there. or let's go there. I'm a little hearing impaired and I couldn't get it all. So I'm going to let the other people give you some more feedback. But your delivery was impeccable as usual. Dramatic.
I figured, oh my goodness, because we know each other a little bit personally, I thought, did you just write this? And he just laughed. And that's what I was taking from it. Oh my goodness, and you said no. So this is just a beautiful piece of prose that sold me. I'm sold. I was upset for you, and you did that. So I appreciate and dislike you very much for upsetting me for that moment. I thought, oh no, but it was really.
I'm also hearing impaired, so I had a very difficult time hearing what you were saying. And I was watching your feelings in your face as to whether it's a positive or a negative. But I was disappointed that I couldn't hear you, you know. So I would say for you to project your voice more, because, you know, like,
it's
Pat, you know, when you get old, these things happen.
Yeah.
And so I would have liked to have been able to hear better. Even though you were standing in front of me, I still had a hard time hearing you.
Ooh, okay, that's
Okay.
that's something I work on, so
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
anything else? Shall we move to Ms. Wood?
I can't think of anything negative to say except
Yeah.
I want more.
Yeah, absolutely. If that's the
I want
beginning of
more.
a book, we want more, and we want more next time in August. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
In August, I'll be able to be a little more open about it, so,
yeah.
okay.
And now, Ms. Wood, the proposal.
The proposal.
The proposal. Tell us, it was very well organized. Again, I was in the back and I couldn't see your chart at first, and then I went and stood on it. And one of the things that we evaluated was the theme of the piece made clear at the beginning. And because I didn't see a lot of it, I heard you talking about Toastmasters and everybody has a fear of speaking. And then the next thing, by the time I got where I could listen, was all about relationships and a proposal and your personal experiences, which were very moving and touching and I hadn't heard before. And I love that you weaved them in. But I wasn't clear of the total purpose of the whole proposal title. But
Fear of success or fear of failure.
Yeah.
And there's fear of failure or success in all things in life, from relationship to speaking in public to all of those things. So be courageous enough and determine what it is that your success is. Sometimes especially where there's a relationship involved, we're inclined, and that's something as a new widow I was being pushed towards, is goodness, look at you, go out and, get more real estate or do this or do that. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, quit picking on me. My success is that relationship. I want another good marriage. I got out of a good marriage. I want back in a good marriage. So for someone else to determine what my success is not fair. So that's what I'm talking about, is first thing we need to determine what it is. That's the first thing we do when we're finding our success. It's ours, it's mine, it's yours, it's yours, it's yours, it's yours. Don't tell me what my success is. Yeah. And that's what I was trying to get across, is this is what we normally see as success. Again, I already had the house with the ocean view. I already had kids in college. I already had my own degree. I'm so grateful. Right.
Yeah.
So that's what.
Didn't mean to start with that, because your delivery and everything was always so dramatic and.
But I'm glad you made it, because I'm happy to re-articulate the point, and that point is success is defined with each and every one of us, and we cannot allow someone else to make that choice.
Good
for us.
Yeah. Joanne or Carrie about?
Well, I'm a person of positive thinking. I don't think negatively. I think positively. So, I would be right in on everything as a positive. You say why, well, why not do something? If it's a not, then it's why not do it instead of why do it. But so I'm a very positive person, and to me, it's all full steam ahead, And I was getting that from what you were saying, that it go forward.
Right, and that's what I got from it as well. That no matter what happens, we just keep at it. We have our why, but we also have our action. And I like the way that you went from,
I mean, you just kind of went in that order, which obviously you had planned it that way, but there's a power in the action. And oftentimes people don't talk about that. And they don't talk about how important all the action that we do. And you were talking about it even while you were in your why. You were talking about the actions that you were taking, and then you went back into it and said, reiterated the actions. But I thought that was kind of powerful. I don't know if that was on purpose or a mistake, but I thought it was powerful because it is the action that fuels the why. And it doesn't have to be like some crazy action. It could be as simple as, whatever. Everybody's actions are different. But the fact that you just kind of really stood in that place, I thought was just powerful for the whole piece.
And one thing I want to state, as I heard this morning about that kind of thing, is to become successful, first thing, make your bed. Make your bed. You're depressed, make your bed. You can't get back in it. You're up.
I've heard this saying before, but I didn't know what the point was.
Make
But
your
you
bed.
can't get back in it.
Absolutely, you're successful.
These are things that this
Right.
workshop is about,
Right.
that we are delivering
Right, you've done
to the
nothing.
world.
Yes, I have. I made the bed, and it looks nice.
Right.
So that's something for me. No matter what terrible thing has happened in my life, to go, okay, that happened. I'm putting that over there. What wonderful thing is going to happen next?
Yeah.
Because that's what matters.
Right, look at the positive,
That's
not
what
the
matters.
negative.
Bring your
Exactly.
attention to the next best thing.
Exactly.
And start basic. Okay, how about Pat Hanson's 5-step fantasy group? The
I enjoyed that.
WFYTD
It was
group.
different. It was off the mark in terms of what one would expect. And I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. I was really into it as you were going into the different characters. And some of what you were saying and all I was relating to, like with my own husband and my parents with their,
Alzheimer's,
so
I'm
it
going to be
was.
quiet and listen.
I had the privilege of seeing when you did this at Toastmasters, and I did notice that you took some of the suggestions from Toastmasters, which I hadn't even remembered because it has been a long time. But when you came out with the hats, I remembered someone had suggested that. And I thought, wow, she's already doing, and I think that's the whole point of this sort of environment, is the praise is really wonderful. We all love the praise. It's the suggestions that make us better. And so someone gave you that suggestion and you had hats for everything. You had, a different look to your outfit each
character.
time without having to, right.
Right, with the
So,
character.
but just, Pat, it was really good.
It was very creative.
Yeah.
The whole setup that
The
you had was
topic.
very creative.
I started it as a comedy piece, a takeoff, and then it became very real. And I've actually delivered it at a conference in Denver of older women, crones, women coming of age, and they said if there was a support group like that in their town, they would go, because there is a need to share your experience, strength, and hope with those who are going through the same thing for different reasons.
Right.
And the 12 steps work if you work them, as we know, with addictions and codependency and things like that. Kyle, I got it now.
It was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. You made me laugh. I could see how you could make it funnier, because
Yeah.
I vote for funnier.
Good.
I mean, I do vote for funnier with the poignant thrown in. So,
If suggestions, I'll take. Yeah.
well, I think there's something we could talk about
No.
later. I think I need to noodle it, dare I say. But every time you made me laugh, because I'm a positive thinker, and I do have a parent now. I lost my dad in September, but my mother is in that situation now, and bless her heart, I'm not waiting for her to die per se, but I'm sort of waiting for her to forget my name and my phone number. But not really,
Yeah.
Mom, if you're out
Well, there's always lines that I leave out and I forget. And one thing I was going to say is this end of life issues makes 9 months of pregnancy and a few hours of labor nothing, you know, because it can be 9 years, it can be 15 years when we regress to that condition. Thus the need for a support group
Right.
for your friends to
And when-
get you through it.
And when you had said that your mom or someone had made the comment about your not being pretty, or your character not being pretty,
Yeah.
just, and I love my mother, and she's of sound mind, so this is not something that's in that place. It's just an elderly thing she threw out when she read the book I wrote, Tilly Lewis.
Right.
Now, mind you, I've graduated summa cum laude, Phi Kappa Phi, top of my class and all that, but to her, that's just a bunch of junk that doesn't mean anything. And obviously I smiled and waved my way through the whole thing because that's what she figured. But when she read the book, she came back and she said, I can't believe it. I want my friends to read it. I had no idea you were smart.
That was wonderful.
And
Yeah.
and that's just how parents, I think, were in that
era.
My sister was the smart
Criticism,
one. I was the
complaining,
pretty
it
one,
was-
and I don't object to being the pretty one. And my sister still freaked out about all that stuff, but we do get categorized into those things. And you know, for my mom to say that is like I said, oh, why not, Mom?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
But you know, so yeah, we all have those
Yeah.
things, and you brought that out, and I thought, oh, goody, I'm going to have to get up now and say something that isn't in that place of sadness.
Yeah.
But you brought it up
And
funny.
I
before
could
you
have
were
taken
done.
it a step further to when she passed, which was a beautiful moment. I had sent some Valentines to her with pictures of my sister, and the social worker who knew me at the nursing home called and gave her the Valentine, and she opened it, and she touched each one and sort of said goodbye, and that was the night that she passed. It was all about love, and it was all about thank you. And so I want to thank Wave Street for this opportunity.
If you want a suggestion,
Yes, I do.
yes, I know, I figured
We
you
have 2
might.
minutes for
Okay,
it.
I'll
I
make
hear
it
from the
fast.
producer.
When you do your each character,
Yeah.
I would recommend a body language for each one that's slightly different, because it was
Yeah.
always Pat with the hand movements,
Got it.
right?
Good.
So
Thank
you know, maybe Frank
And the
stands like this
transitions
the whole
could have been
time.
better.
Yeah,
Because I was
but
going to
that's
keep the hat on for the
Yeah.
narrator, the group leader, and then,
Right, but
Or have
that's,
someone hand them to you.
or something. Yeah.
and that's just logistics.
Good.
But yeah. So.
Well, thank you, audience, for the Wave Street monologue. Thank you, Wave Street. And we'll see you in August.
Woo!
All right.
You did great.
You did great.
We did it.
We're done.
Now.
What was the one, stop doing